As Tim Walz prepares to take the stage for tonight's debate against J.D. Vance, the question remains, can we trust a single word he says? His past is littered with misleading statements, embellished achievements, and outright fabrications that leave voters questioning his integrity. Let's take a closer look at the damning audit of his public persona. One of the most glaring examples of Walz's tendency to bend the truth emerged during the Democratic National Convention. While Vice President Kamala Harris and Senator Amy Klobuchar lauded him as the coach who led Mankato West High School's football team from underdog to state champions, the reality was quite different. Walz was merely an assistant coach under Rick Sutton, the actual head coach who oversaw the team's remarkable turnaround. Although Walz never corrected this narrative, Sutton himself clarified who was truly in charge. This exaggeration might seem minor in isolation, but it speaks to a larger pattern of deception that runs through Walz's career. More troubling is Walz's tendency to inflate his military service. While he served in the National Guard, his statement in 2018 about carrying weapons of war suggested combat experience, a claim that has since been debunked. Walz was stationed in Italy, not a war zone, and yet he has never fully acknowledged this misleading remark. His evasive responses to direct questions only deepen the perception that he is not forthcoming about his record. Even his rank of command sergeant major has been exaggerated, with Walz failing to complete the necessary coursework to retire at that level, ultimately stepping down as a master sergeant instead. Beyond his military embellishments, Walz has faced scrutiny for downplaying a drunk driving arrest from his past. Despite pleading guilty to reckless driving after being caught speeding with a blood alcohol level above the legal limit, his team falsely claimed during a congressional campaign that alcohol was not involved. It wasn't until years later that Walz admitted the truth, raising further concerns about his transparency. Even Walz's professional and economic accomplishments have come under fire. His campaign claims that he played a key role in Minnesota's economic recovery, but under his leadership, the state's job growth and GDP lagged behind national averages. His exaggeration of an award from the Nebraska Chamber of Commerce, when in fact, it was from the Nebraska Junior Chamber, adds to the perception of a politician who has repeatedly stretched the truth to inflate his credentials. Personal matters have also been subject to Walz's embellishment. His family's struggle with fertility became a prominent talking point, with Walz frequently referencing their supposed journey through IVF. Yet, as his wife later clarified, they had actually undergone intrauterine insemination, IUI, a less invasive and less controversial procedure than IVF. Despite this correction, Walz continued to frame his story around IVF, using it as a political cudgel against his opponent, J.D. Vance. As Tim Walz faces J.D. Vance in tonight's debate, his history of misleading statements and embellishments casts a shadow over his credibility. From his exaggerated coaching role to his misrepresented military service and personal life, Walz has repeatedly shown a troubling pattern of bending the truth. The question remains, how much longer will voters tolerate these fabrications, and can we trust him to be honest when it matters most?